Yeah.
Okay, so you have the usual suspects. You have Mercedes-Benz with their C-Class, BMW with their 3 Series, Audi with their A4, and then you have 3 others. You've also got the Alfa Romeo Giulia, and you've got the Maserati Ghibli, and then you've also got this, the Jaguar XE. The first 3 are like the usual suspects. They're the safe plays. The last 3, including this, are the more exciting ones, but obviously they are a little bit more premium in their price tag, and also maintenance has been an issue with some of these brands in the past. But it's 2022 and this is the new XE, and it comes with a longer warranty than Jaguars of previous years, which is a good thing. I want to see if it's worth grabbing this over the usual suspects and over the Italian stallions that this is competing against, and straight away I can tell you I much prefer the looks of this over every other car in that category. Now I'm going to check out the features, I'm going to walk you around the outside, the inside, and of course take it for a drive to see if this lives up to the mantra of Jaguars: grace, pace, and space. Well, this one is a little bit less than the bigger XF. My name's Cameron, this is Product Review Cars. Let's get into it. Now, please make sure you're subscribed by hitting that red subscribe button down below and also hitting that notification bell, and drop a like if you like reviews just like this. Leave a comment to let me know what you think of this car or any of our other cars, because I reply to those very frequently. It's the best way to show your support for the channel. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now, exterior features and the design. I think the design has been a knock out of the park for this particular car. They've ironed out all the little imperfections that the last XE had, so this updated version just looks more complete with, finishes on the tailpipes, for example, which I found very odd that Jaguar didn't do that for the first generation of XEs with some of them. And just overall, it is a stunning car. There is not a bad angle, which is something that I rarely say, but this certainly does not have a bad angle. So it is very much a Jaguar in terms of being good looking, because it's muscular, but it's also very sleek and refined. So it looks great. That black pack I'm talking about, these bits and pieces that are normally chrome, but are very obviously black, like a black grille. Love the red Jaguar logo, and instead of some ugly glass rectangle, it's all been, condensed into the Jaguar logo here for your radar, cruise control, and all your safety systems. Obviously, we have black 19-inch wheels, which look fantastic with red brake calipers and red center caps with Jaguar spelt on the calipers. I mean, stuff like that, really nice, looks really good here. Got a Jaguar logo on the side, have a little Jaguar up here in the LED headlamps with LED daytime running lights, and they also have those progressive indicators, which is pretty cool. And then moving alongside, black wing mirrors, obviously no chrome along the side, some black side skirts, and then obviously some more black wheels around the back. And then towards the back of the car, we have this little boot lip spoiler up here, blacked out badges, so P300 all-wheel drive, the model of the car, and the XE here, and a black Jaguar logo. Looks really good on this, what they call blue fire blue paint, which is an interesting name, but it looks killer with this black and blue combination. A bit of a bruise sort of theme going on, but it's not so purpley, so it looks good here. No rear wiper. Obviously, it's very traditional on normal sedans to not have a rear wiper, and there's that camera up there for your rear vision mirror. Also, I just love how the tailpipes look on this car. They look fantastic, and they are very much real, and they are also specified apparently to be 84mm, which was an interesting little stat that Jaguar threw on there, but they want to be proud that they had real exhaust exits, nothing fake going on here. Now look, to be serious, I didn't think I was going to enjoy the XE as much as I have this week. This is a killer car. This interior was really quite an impressive feat when I jumped into it. Initially, there's a bit going on. With the dashboard, there's like a two-step design. You have a Jaguar logo thrown up there, which is very weird to see, but it sort of makes you feel like you're sitting lower in the car rather than up higher, which some sedans can give that feel. You obviously have this center screen here, which is fantastic. It's the same layout you see on all the new Jaguar and Land Rovers. Love it, love the app style layout. It's very, very responsive. I think this one feels like it has a faster refresh rate than some of the cars I've tested previously, so it's nice to see maybe some improvements rolling out over the air, which this gets over the updates, which is cool. So you've got wireless Apple CarPlay now, which works for like 90% of the time. I've had 10% of the time that the car didn't want to connect to my phone wirelessly, which was a tad annoying, but overall it's been a pretty seamless experience. Obviously the 360-degree camera in here is so crisp, it's some of the best in the industries, and you can also fly around the outside of the car in a 360-degree fashion, which I kind of like, but it's not very useful if you're parking close to something. It's sort of good just to get your senses when you're out in, say, an open area. Now we have the driver's display in front of us, which is very crisp, very clear. It's a little laggy occasionally when it's going through some transitions, but on day-to-day use, it is very good. Below, before I jump into the buttons and the drive modes, there is three more screens actually here. So the climate controls has a little screen to turn and operate the climate controls, which I find a little bit unnecessary, but I do like the screens on the dials because they have a really cool animation when you go between fan and temperature controls. And there's some capacitive buttons and some on-screen controls to control your climate controls. So to be honest, all the screens that are going on here, there's even a heads-up display which is full color and gives you a rev counter and all your other information there. Is it entirely necessary? Not exactly. I think the one I would get rid of is the screen for the climate controls. I like the screens on the dials, but just this center screen I didn't really find to be overly useful. So that's the only one I get rid of, where the rest of them, yeah, they can stay because they're nice and easy to use and operate and very crisp and clear. Additionally, there is another screen, which is actually this rear vision mirror. So you flip it down and it is a normal mirror. But when you flick it up, that camera you saw as part of the technology package gives you a live feed, which is a very high refresh rate, never lags out, great color contrast. It's better than looking through a mirror, and you get a live feed out the back. If you have it on a mirror, you sort of get an obstruction with, you know, the framing of the rear window and also the headrest, but you flick this up and you get yourself a clear image out the back, and I've never had any visibility problems with this. Love this. And you know what? I wish most cars came with this camera feed. I know it'd be more expensive if something goes wrong instead of a simple mirror, but it is just that much easier to use. Now below here we have a wireless charging pad. We have a really nice sort of gun holster type shifter, which is now being put into all of Jaguar and Land Rover's cars. I love it. It's really easy to operate, and what's cool, if you shift it into drive and into sport and you hit park, it automatically throws itself across, which I think is a kind of a cool little gimmick there. You've also got some hard buttons here for traction control, automatic start, stop, off. You've also got an actual button for volume and turning on and off your media. You've got the start engine stop, which pulses with a heart rate style beat, which is a very, you know, Jaguar thing. And I really like the slider for the drive modes into dynamic. You've got comfort, you've got eco, and you've got all weather, which is rain, ice, and snow. Got a couple of cup holders here. I like how you can cover this up with this little sliding panel here. Not the biggest fan of the gloss touch plastics around the shifter, but everywhere else is not so bad. I love the bright work in here. It really sort of brings out, you know, a bit of contrast that you really need, especially with these metal shifting paddles, which are killer. Some of the best, you know, Alfa Romeo has some serious competition when these paddles are out on the market. Love the steering wheel design. I love the little R dynamic, you know, the little Jaguar R logo on the bottom makes you feel a bit more sporty. Capacitive buttons on the steering wheel have been a bit hit and miss for me. I feel like they're a little bit, you know, sometimes you feel like, did I press it all the way or did I not? Sometimes you feel like you accidentally press it. Hasn't been anything major that's been upsetting about it, but it's just a little bit, you know, a little bit of guesswork when you're operating these. I love the little stitch center line as well. It really helps when you're getting on it, just to keep, you know, where your 12 o'clock is on your wheel, and I just love that. It makes it feel just sporty without being too shouty. Additionally, there are Meridian speakers in here, which do sound quite good. I love the stitching in here. I love the oyster leather, which is this one here. I love the little Jaguar Coventry little stitched little tag on these seats. But the one thing I will complain about the seats, these little embossed Jaguar logos. I've had multiple people complain about them, and even myself, that when you're resting on here for a long trip, they do dig into the back of your head just a little bit. So Jaguar, I love how they look, but can you please just work out a way to make them a little bit softer? We've also got some USBs up front. We got USB-C, USB-A, and we have a 12-volt adapter, which is good. And there's also another 12-volt in here. This is sort of like a running theme with Jaguars. I don't necessarily have all the USB points, but seeing how Land Rover listened with the Discovery, hopefully for the next update, will bring more. But at the time, you'll probably have to buy one of those 12-volt to USB adapters from Super Cheap Auto if you want any more USBs than the two in the glove box. Now, Jaguar's mantra is grace, pace, and space, and the XE delivers almost all the way on space. I'm 5'11", and I am feeling a tiny bit cramped back here, but not as bad as Genesis G70. So there's been a thoughtful amount of space allocated, but it is very noticeable when you look at the side profile of this car that the front doors are way bigger than the rear doors. So that is sort of like the small to medium sized sedan market operating there, where if you want a bigger sedan, you'll have to go for Jaguar's XF. Now, I've got plenty of feet room actually underneath the seat, which is nice. It's been well thought out. And knee room has actually been nice because it's been sculpted out behind the seat. So sitting behind myself in my normal sitting position, which is actually pretty, far back considering most people sit a bit closer than this one, I feel very comfortable. I've got a nice grab handle here and the quality does not disappear to the back seats. You still have amazing, leather seats, very comfortable, and they're a little bit sculpted as well for 4 people to sit very comfortably. We've got metal work back here. We've also, there's nice soft touch plastics everywhere, Meridian speaker in the back, nice grab handle. And I like how the roof's been hollowed out a little bit so I have a bit more headroom, but I can see if you have a tall torso, if you're approaching, 6'2", 6'3", you might be hitting your head on this roof here. Now we have a center armrest here, which is, very comfortable. I like how it comes down in line with the other armrests here, so you feel like you've got a uniform shape rather than feel like you're doing this or that. Now, how do the windows go down the back? Most of the way. I'm pretty impressed with that. That is a nice amount of space, and I do like the secondary window here as well. So that is very acceptable, and also automatic windows in the rear is a major plus as well. Now, what's cool obviously is that this seat also folds down, so you can have 4 people plus this seat fold down for extra cargo, which is great. Now, like I mentioned, there's only another 12 volt in the back, no USBs to be found, so that is just the one improvement I would ask from Jaguar, just to include a few more USBs. There is also a very shallow little shelf back here, not entirely useful, but useful for maybe a pen or something like that. Some air vents back here, which is great. And yeah, look, it's a very comfortable back seat considering this is a pretty small sedan. So I just finished moving house just this week, and I had to use the Jaguar just to move a few bits and pieces because I don't actually own a car. So bringing stuff from IKEA might have been a bit awkward on the back of a motorcycle. So it was good that I had a practical sedan. Even though this has just under 400 liters of space back here, it is still a very usable boot. There is a tiny little lip on the bottom of the boot floor, but I found it really easy to slide items in and out of here, no problems. And it was also thanks to how these seats fold down. I will say though, folding them down is not really the easiest thing to do. There's these little pull tabs which you wouldn't really know unless you had to go looking for them, because on the inside there's no really obvious little tabs in there. We give them a little pull, as you would expect, like I'm pulling on them. Great, don't really want to pull too hard. Let's go around now. Okay, ready to go, you think, and then there we go. But sometimes it doesn't do it, and you have to give a few more pulls or get someone to coordinate with you to pull the seats down. But once you fold all these seats down, you get a nice flat load floor all the way through, and you can fit several items in here that you probably wouldn't expect. But this is a Jaguar, and I came to this spot to find out how it drives on some good driving roads and really see if it lives up to Jaguar's claim that this has some pace. All right, so we are running Jaguar's 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol motor under the bonnet, producing 221 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters of torque, all sent through an 8-speed transmission to an all-wheel drive system, and you're looking at a quoted 0 to 100 time around 5.8 seconds. So that's all the meat and potatoes right there. But what I want to find out is how that actually translates to real world speed, because a 4-cylinder petrol motor, on paper, not very exciting. And they got rid of the 6-cylinder option for this in 2022. And if you want a V8, you have to go find something that's rarer than hen's teeth, which is the XE Project 8. And that thing is an absolute monster, but it is on par in rarity with the C63 AMG Black Series. So good luck finding a V8. So now we have a 4-cylinder, and is it as disappointing as someone might think a 4-cylinder would be, considering how many cool engines this car has had? Well, no, I've really enjoyed this. This is a fantastic motor. It's very reminiscent. You got to change your mindset to something like a big hot hatch, because that giant turbo under the bonnet is very much like a hot hatch with how much power this is producing. And with modern day hot hatches getting a bit bloated, this thing weighs just over 1500 / into 1600 kilogram territory, which is right on par with modern day large hot hatches. Now, I'm in S mode in the gearbox, which is nice to use, and I'm also in dynamic mode to start off with through these twisty sections of road. And I'm gonna get into the gears a little bit, just sort of, you know, get a feel for this little torque band that we have. 400 Newton meters isn't nothing by any means. Oh, fantastic. That it gives you really good power delivery, but what I would love is like a mild hybrid system just for the down low part. I know that would add a bit more weight, but it just sort of feels like down low when you really just sort of dig into it. So let's say from 3,000, we're in third gear, we're looking at around 2,000 RPM, and I want to get on it now. Just a tiny bit of a lag, but once you get going, this car really comes alive with this 4-cylinder, and it doesn't sound all too bad either. But this is sort of like a hybrid sporty car. Obviously it's an R-dynamic trim, but it is more of a luxury car first. But I like how you can transform this Jaguar into a Jaguar by being able to waken it up, engage a bit more with these paddles, and really have a bit of fun through some twisties. This is a very capable car, and it is a quick car too. Now, not getting out of sport mode, obviously, like that we can have a bit of fun, but we're knocking it into comfort mode. And this car just relaxes. You can sort of feel it just sort of back off from aggressive steering. The throttle input sort of dull a little bit, and you get a very relaxing ride. There's a bit of road noise coming through from the tires. Those Pirelli tires are pretty sticky, but they're nothing too, you know, aggressive, so it is relatively quiet in here. You can have a nice quiet conversation as well, and there's plenty of sound deadening to be had. Now, we're in comfort mode, we're in an 80-kilometer section of road. I'm going to bring it down to 60, and I'm going to show you what the responsiveness is like in this. So let's bring it up to 60 kilometers an hour. I'm in drive, 3, 2, 1. So there is that little bit of lag, which is why I want that mild hybrid system just to fill it in, because I found that really fixed a lot of the issues with the turbo diesel engines in Land Rover's lineup, and I think it would work beautifully here as well. Now, fuel efficiency, I've been getting around 11.5 litres per 100 Ks combined. This obviously is a petrol motor, and you get around 500 Ks of range indicated by the car. So it's been pretty good. You know, it is a tiny bit thirsty, but it's still relatively good for the performance you are getting. Now, I love the all-wheel drive system. It provided plenty of confidence when I was going through some heavy rain during the week. And, you know, even loading this up with a bit of cargo and 3 people in here, it is still pretty quick. It doesn't impact the performance at all. So it doesn't feel like you've got that traditional hot hatch experience where you got to turn off the air conditioning and stuff like that with a 4-cylinder motor. Instead, it pulls really strong, nice and all the way through, especially loaded up with a few people and bits and pieces in the boot. Now, I think it's only fitting to end this review with a quick little launch. So here we are, coming to a complete stop in 3, 2, 1. Look, it's a quick car. It's really enjoyable, but it's not like, you know, an aggressively quick car. It's not going to throw your head back, but it provides plenty of smiles when you need to. But it also means that you can enjoy it within the speed limit, which is a good thing. And additionally, when you're shifting gears in dynamic mode, it does hold the gears. So if I shift down in sport mode and I go through first, and here we go, it doesn't shift for you. How good's that? I think Audi could take a page out of that book for their cars that aren't S or RS models. There we go. Love that. But, you know, it leaves the question of, should you buy one of these? Now look, you have a decision to make for the next 5 years of your lease. You can either go get a BMW 3 Series, which you've probably been getting all the time, or if you're a Mercedes person, you've been doing the same with a C-Class, or if you're an Audi person, you can do the same with an A4. But I would like to know if it makes you feel the same way as looking at a Jaguar. This thing just evokes a little bit more emotion than the other 3. And now that it packs the tech, the luxury, obviously the looks, and relatively good performance for the price, this is, in my personal opinion, the best combination of an emotional and practical purchase. And so I have to say, You definitely should step out of your comfort zone, out of the German usual suspects, to go and have a crack at one of these, because it just does everything so right. And if you are a big fan of attention to detail, that's something that Jaguar nails with all of their cars. And also, the driving experience is plenty of fun without having to risk losing your license or pay an exorbitant amount for a little bit more power. And for me, it's the fact that Jaguar also offers a 5-year warranty and cap price servicing over that period for a prepaid amount. So all that maintenance stuff can leave your head if that's something you've been burned by in the past. So with all that said, my name's Cameron. This is Product Review Cars. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.